So when we model division of fractions, this is again a very different way from modeling addition, subtraction, or multiplication. We're going to be thinking of it in terms of the measurement model, how many groups of a certain amount are in another amount. For example, this example here shows how many sets or groups of 3 are in 7. If we draw 7 items and make groups of 3, we have 1 complete set, 2 complete sets, and a third of another complete set. So 7 divided by 3 is 2 and a third. And notice that it's based on the size of the set, where the size of the set is 3. Now, just to give you a review for addition, when you add numbers together, you think of combining. And we're going to have 3 units. You represent the first fraction in 1 unit, the second fraction in another unit, and the third fraction in another unit. It can be more, it can be 4 if you need 4 for a mixed number answer. And then subtraction, we're going to just need 2 units because we're going to use the idea of comparison, or how much more. So we will draw the first fraction in 1 unit, the second fraction in another unit, and then overlay the second fraction on top of the first fraction to see how much more is in the first fraction. For multiplication, we're going to be using the idea of, and so we only need 1 unit. We draw the second fraction first and then mark off a certain part of that second fraction. And then for division, we're going to use the measurement model, and we're going to be asking the question, how many groups? Again, we're going to need 2 units, but this is going to be different. We're going to be it's something like subtraction, I guess. We model both of the fractions, and then we look at the second fraction and find how many of that size second fraction will fit into the first fraction. So when you see a division problem, you need to think, for example, 1/2 divided by 1/4, you need to think how many groups of 1/4 are in 1/2. For 7/8 divided by 2/3, you need to think how many groups of 2/3 are in 7/8. So be sure you're able to translate these division examples. 3/5 divided by 1/2 means how many groups of, and you're asking how many 1/2s are in 3/5. So we'll fill in the rest of these, and you can check these with the key. And then let's do an example. When we do 2/3 divided by 1/5, you should write what this means. How many groups the size of 1/5 are in 2/3? Now, we're going to have to model the 2/3 and the 1/5. So we want to draw a picture of 2/3 and a picture of 1/5 using the same size units. So we're comparing the same size. So let's draw 5 by 3, and we can always draw them based on the denominators, 3 and 5. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. There's one 5 by 3 unit and another 5 by 3 unit. Now, in the first unit, I'm just going to model and sketch 2/3. This is just a picture of what I've got. So 2/3. Let's make that a nice light color here. 1/3, 2/3, and then I'll write what I've got there. This is 2/3, and then I'm going to model 1/5 in the second fraction. This shows me how big my 1/5 is. So I'll just model one of those, 1/5. Now my question is, how many groups of size 1/5 are in the group of the 2/3 that I modeled? So I'm asking how many of those green rods would fit on top of the yellow rods. Now, the way that I think is the easiest to do this is to think this green rod is made up of 3 squares. So I'm finding groups of 3 squares on top of the 2/3. So I'll usually get a dark color and maybe a little wider pencil to write with, and I'm going to draw one group. This is one group of the 1/5 that fits there. And then you can draw it different ways. I see another one right here. I see a second group. So there's a second group of the 1/5 that fits there. And then if I separate those and bend them around, I have another group. So you can see I can get 3 groups of this 1/5 on top of my 2/3. So I can get 1 group, I can get 2 groups, I can get 3 groups, but I can't get 4 groups. So mine is going to be 3 plus something because I have part here. So what I think about this is this one square, this one yellow square here, is how much of the 1/5. So I will take that square and put it on top of here, and I realize that I have 1/3 of the 1/5 left. So 1/3 of the 1/5 is on top of there. So how many groups of 1/5 is 3 and 1